PC9 PHP testing the repeater. PC9 PHP clear.
Good evening, ladies. This is Melanie, AG4YL, and welcome to the YL UpNet. This evening I am without preamble. It has disappeared somewhere. So I'm just going to wing this. We welcome all YLs or licensed young lady ham radio operators to the net on the ALARA Conference node every Thursday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll go ahead and get right down to the nitty-gritty of check-ins. We ask that you give your name, call sign, and your QTH. So all YLs that would like to check into this evening's net, please call now.
This is November 8th, Foxtrot Echo Marcia in Huntington Woods, Michigan. Good evening, ladies.
Whiskey Alpha 7 Alpha Lima, Alita in Vernal, Utah, and I'm short time tonight.
AE7MB, Margaret, Battleground, Washington.
This is Whiskey 3 Lima Echo Oscar, Leah in Midwest City, Oklahoma.
This is KC1GNS Ann in New Hampshire. This is Rita, November Echo 0 Delta Bravo, Pueblo West, Colorado.
This is WA4YL, Dawn in Hudson, Florida, safe and sound.
This is KC9VHC Lauren in Albany, Illinois.
This is AF7BI, Maryland, in Battleground, Washington.
This is K7CJS in Gardner, Washington. I think I doubled on Marilyn and Rita, so good evening, ladies.
This is WB1DHT Connie in Bridgewater, Massachusetts.
This is KD0WAU. This is Barb in Andover, Kansas.
Okay, trying again. Here is Popular from 7 Hotel Lima, India, Soraya, from Paraíba, Brazil.
This is Whiskey 4 Charlie Mike Golf, Kathy in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. Phew. What a group. I'm a little overwhelmed. All right. Well, there we go. I'm just going to put in a couple notes here. All right. So let's just start at the top of the list and move down. Marcia, N8FE from Michigan. Alita, WA7AL from Utah, short time. Margaret, A7MB, Washington. I actually had seen you try to key up the first couple times there, Saraya, so I do have you, PU7, HLI, Brazil. Leah, W3LEO, Oklahoma. KC1GNFN from New Hampshire. NE0DB, Rita from Colorado. WA4, YL Dawn from Florida. Safe and sound, good to hear. Lauren, KC9ZHV, Illinois. Maryland, AF7BI, Washington. CJ, K7CJS, also from Washington. WB1DHT, Connie from Massachusetts. KD0, WAU, Barb from Kansas. W4CMG, Kathy from Tennessee. And I know Catherine's out there lurking, AC4YL. I was looking for her lurking. I think she's in there somewhere. I don't see her in the chat yet. Maybe she's having some connections, but I know she's there she is, finally got in. Awesome. I also see that VA3WHU Carol has joined us. Good evening to you. I believe it's Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carol. I don't see any other ones here yet. Sometimes Rosie joins us from Winnipeg, but I don't see any others here this evening. I don't even see a Jenny here yet. But let me go ahead and pause and reset. I got started a couple minutes late today trying to look for the, and I'm usually so very organized, I was digging around trying to find my, and watch. Oh, there it is. I just reached in and found it. I literally just reached into it was in the wrong file folder. I was digging around trying to find my preamble here for the net this evening, and I couldn't locate it, and I literally just opened the drawer one more time and flicked it. I have some spare files here in the back of my file drawer, and of course I stuffed it right to the wrong one. But anyway, I see Sarah, AB7PS. Good evening to you, Sarah. I have you in the log. And hopefully, if I don't goof up, I will give everybody that joins us on an ongoing basis here through the net a chance to check in a little bit later. So, first, before we launch in, I know there's a lot of news I'm certain that everybody wants to share between some of the storms. We've had some Hamfests. We've had some different events going on. And I know that WA7AL Alita is short time. Alita, did you want to come in and share anything with the group in the time that you're here? Do you have any news or anything that you would like to come ahead and share? I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you'd just like to say hello to the ladies, we've got a few relatively new gals here on the net this evening. So WA7AL Alita, if you'd like to come in and give us all a shout, please do.
Good evening to everyone on the net. WA7AL here. I have had lots that's been going on. This past weekend, I went to what's called Citizen Corp training, and part of the ARIES, and got training in all kinds of areas, we had our Vice President of BHF Club come out and teach us about repeaters and Echolink, IRLPs, and what to look for if they break down, kind of training that way. We learned also about different kinds of explosions that can take place with chemicals. 1 second for recheck or reset. So I've learned all kinds of things that way. I've helped out with a symphony that was here in Vernal, Utah, and the Aries helped out with that, with making sure that there was clear communication so that people could get on the buses in a timely manner and make sure that they weren't waiting too long. And that worked out really well with communication between the bus drivers and the buses and the people that were waiting, so that worked out smoothly. It was a long night though. And the reason why I'm short time is I have to leave for my Aries meeting here in my local community. So it's nice talking to you all ladies, and I enjoy it thoroughly. And I appreciate all the things that you guys do to teach me. And you have a great evening. 33, WA7AL.
All right, very good. Thank you so much for coming in and filling us in on your world and what's going on. One of the things that I did want to kind of cover this evening was Elmering. So we're going to try to put up any, or Elmiring as it was. We're going to try to put up any links and make sure that we have that in the YL-OpNet. So stay tuned, as they say, and we'll try to take care of that. You know, we all learn from each other, and that is a part of being an Elmer or Elmira, as the female term is, for a mentor in ham radio, if you will. The term is not very old. The term came about in the early 70s with a QST magazine article. And it kind of was reinforcing how we should all help each other in ham radio and teach each other in ham radio. And Elmira is a relatively new term. I'm not quite sure where I first heard it, but I know it's not one a lot of ladies are familiar with, and I don't even use it, you know, with the OMs, because they don't have a slightest idea what you're talking about, unless you take the time to educate them. It's a female Elmer. Oh, okay. But some of the best help I've gotten has been, you know, from Elmers and Elmiras and their examples and help and skill and just learning things together. You know, you can learn things with your Elmer or Elmira as well. Everybody can learn things and teach things to each other, and everybody gets something out of it. Your Elmer can get as much out of it as you do, because you can learn from each other, and it's just absolutely the best. It's the best feeling when you really come to something. Let me pause for reset. When you finally get it and it all kind of locks in and you feel so much better and so much more comfortable. I've learned so much from this net and from everybody here. It's been a wonderful experience for me, and one that I hope that we can continue on with this tradition of doing, as Catherine had originally, you know, set out to do with this net when she started it. Coming up on the anniversary next month of 3 years. She started it on October 2nd, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Catherine, of 2014, and I joined very early in 15. I'm not sure if I made it late in 14 because I was licensed on the 20th of December, something like that. And there's not usually a net on the major holiday weeks, those Thursdays, because everyone wants to spend a little time with their family and do their thing. So I can't remember if I actually made it in 14 or if it was early in 15. I know I had to wait till I got a headset, so I may just have listened in. I don't think I checked in. Okay, Soraya, I was talking about Catherine founded this net back in October 2nd, so we're coming up on an anniversary. She's fine, she's with us, she's in the chat. She sometimes allows me to come in and try not to break the net too much and be net control, hi. So that's why I'm covering it. My name is Melanie, HE4YL, and you're so funny. Oh, okay. Lauren has to run. Bye, Lauren. See ya. And Alita has taken off to go to her meeting. And 33. And thank you, sir. Very nice. I have a hard time. Oops. I just saw I needed to reset there. I have a hard time following the chat and trying to keep a train of thought at the same time. I can't do a lot of things at once. I'm not that coordinated. I'm trying to keep my brain together here so I don't bore everybody on the net this evening. One of my home pages is on QRZ.com, and there's a really good article on about our very own Ria, who I don't see with us this evening. Perhaps she's doing I think she's helping some people in Texas. Or Ria's very active on helping in emergencies and all that. But there is a podcast out there, a webcast, called Everything Ham Radio Podcast. That's the name of it. And if you go to QRZ.com, no, I'm sorry, amateurradio.com, that's where I saw it. I subscribe to amateurradio.com. I get their weekly digest instead of their daily, and it's really quite interesting. Amateurradio.com. If you go to amateurradio.com, there's a really good article. I'm going to go ahead and throw the link in here for you in Echo Link. There you go. Amateurradio.com. Check it out. Talking JT Modes with Ria Jerem, N2RJ. Cool, right? Episode 85. And I think she's done a podcast with them before, but she actually goes into the different JT modes, JT65, JT9, and the new JT8. We talk about its uses, how to operate, what you need to operate the different modes. So it's kind of neat, and they have the links on there about everything they're talking about, and Ria is a great example of an Elmer. And I think that, did I say JT8? JT modes, FTA, JT9, and the new FTA. Okay. Okay, FTA. There we go. I'll pause for a reset. I don't even read well. Okay. But check it out. Really kind of neat. And this is what they do all sound the same after a while. And this is an example of what an Elmira could do and how they can help. And one of the things that Catherine thought would be kind of interesting is to find out everyone's kind of specialties. You know, we do we do forums at Hamfest in the Southeast, and we talk to a lot of YLs, and they have, questions, and even on this net, what radio should I get? What antenna should I get? What do you use, Sam? What do you like about it? This, that, and the other. And so we thought it would be interesting. We've talked about this before, about putting together a list of Elmira's, you gals, and what you would be willing to help other YLs with, as far as advice or ideas or opinions, or you don't have to you don't have to be a teacher. There's no pressure here. You don't have to be an expert. Sometimes all it takes is your experience at something, or a realm of ham radio that you enjoy, that you can share with others that have not had that experience. It's basically experience sharing. It's not really teaching. It's experience sharing. And I know Rhea, I see her on now. Yay! Hi, Rhea. We were just talking about you and your, I was telling them how I found on amateurradio.com, about you talking about the JT modes with, on the podcast. So, Everything Ham Radio podcast. So we were just talking about that. And so good to see you on, Rhea. And we're also talking about, I'm not quite sure when you came in because I can't stare at the screen and talk at the same time. As I explained, I'm not that coordinated. But, and I do have you in the log, Rhea. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're talking about Elmiring, if you will, Elmering for YLs, and being willing to share your experiences with others and who would be interested in doing that. And so what I'm going to do is, just since we were talking about, I'm going to jump in with both feet. As I said, Rhea, N2RJ, was just speaking about the podcast that you did about the digital modes, and I understand it's your second one, and I'm wondering if you might be willing to be a Elmira, a female Elmer, to some YLs regarding at least the different JT modes, if not all the other digital modes. I know there might be a lot of gals out here that'd like to know more. Catherine and I would like to kind of put together a little list just for YLs, if you would like to start out the list and help YLs that might have questions about digital modes, if we can refer them to your expertise. So, what say you, Rhea, N2RJ, AG4YL, and the net?
AG4YL, Nanette, and 2RJ. Yeah, sorry for the late joining in. It's been really busy on my end lately because we have some major projects at work. People who know where I work will probably know what we're talking about. And my daughter's here playing on my computer. Anyway, hold on. Quiet, go ahead. Sorry. And anyway, she start of school too. It gets a little busier. Anyway, yeah, I'd be more than happy. Everybody, I'm sure, those who didn't listen to the podcast, please do. I mean, Curtis Moore, K5CLM, he produces a very nice podcast, and he always appreciates more listeners. And he has more family commitments now, so it's going to get a little rough for him to do more regular podcasts. So. But yeah, anybody wants to know about the JT modes, and then anything else they think I might be able to help them with, feel free. I mean, it's paying it forward. I've been a recipient of much learning from a lot of hams, And believe it or not, there was one time when I didn't know anything and I made mistakes, and it's not wrong to make mistakes, just don't make them twice, because then they don't become mistakes. Alright, so back to you, and to RJ.
That cracked me up. That's awesome. Yeah, Melanie here, Rhea. AG for a while. It can get kind of confusing, and the call signs are so similar, and then things get twisted. Especially when you're so busy. Can understand the hectic. And yes, I was encouraging everybody, check out podcasts, check out things like that. Anything where you can get, when they talk to other hams about some expertise. But that's awesome. Now, 2 questions for you, Rhea, since I'm sort of putting you on the spot here to jump in. And I love to help and use some of my experience. I love to help others and kind of get them to save them some steps that I've already taken. But in addition to the modes, the digital modes that we were talking about, Catherine already just popped it in there. Any specific topics that you feel strongest, and I think that's where I was trying to go here. On the podcast, on this particular podcast, I understand that this is the second one that you've done for Everything Ham Radio podcast. This one being on the JT mode, specifically being JT65, JT9, and FT8. And for those that don't know, JT is Joe Taylor, who has written some wonderful, I don't know if you call it writing, but he's devised some really great modes, and really they were designed to investigate propagation. But I'm certain, listen to the podcast and you'll find out a lot more than I could ever tell you, because what I know is like spitting in the ocean compared to where Rhea is on this particular stuff. But Rhea, what besides those particular modes, what other topics do you do? Do you know a lot about all the digital modes, or are those pretty specific to you? And what else would you be willing to mentor in? And to RJ.
All right, Melanie, my apologies for mistaking you for Catherine originally. I knew the voice. It's just that, I have like a billion things going on here. I have a room full of 3 kids, and they're doing some stuff here. Anyway, what I would tell you, the JT modes are a good one because they're so popular for making a lot of contacts. And you're right, they were meant to investigate not just propagation, but weak signal propagation, meaning that they were meant to investigate weak signal modes, activities such as meteor scatter, where you bounce the signals off the trails off of meteors, because we do stuff like that, and then also to bounce signals off the moon. And believe it or not, both of these are not just experimental ham radio things. The U.S. government actually uses meteor scatter, or they used to send geological data, I think about flow rates and streams. So they actually use some of these things. And the moon bounce was actually experimented with by the military as well. Anyway, there are other modes too. And listen, it's not just me. Nisi K1ULN, she does a lot of digital modes too. She works regular sched with Olivia, and she uses a lot of digital modes. I can talk about that. I can talk about HF operation. I can talk about different types of digital operation, DMR on VHF. I do DMR. I have my DMR radio on now. And I use a Shark RF open spot, and yeah, those are some of the things. Of course, people know me. I do contesting. I did the Work Girl Europe contest this weekend. So anybody wants to learn about contesting. And Andrea, K2 Echo Zulu, and I, we sometimes do joint contest operations in her most awesome rover. So that, that is something else we could talk about. I've actually been on Curtis' podcast 3 times. The first time was about software-defined radios. The second time was about remote operation, and this time it's about JT modes. So, yeah, any topic. I mean, nothing is really off limits for me. I've been in this since 1997, and I've learned so much over the years. I'm more than willing to share it, and especially for ladies. So, yeah, that's it. So, I would really recommend good topics today would be the DMR and also the digital modes, not just JT, but also Olivia and PSK31 and those modes, because those tend to be a little better for rag queues. And also contesting and DXing too. Those are some popular activities. Back to you, Melanie, and to RJ.
Okay, thank you so much, Rhea, for coming back and letting me put you on the spot with that. I was aware that an ECK1ULN did like to dabble into digital, and I know she was really turned on by FT8. I think that really excited her. I don't know a lot about Olivia. I think that I think there's so many things. There's so many things to learn, like you said, and always happy to have somebody with your kind of experience and expertise. And I don't know when you came in on our discussion of this, but like I was telling the ladies, it's not about teaching; it's about sharing your experience. That's I think what you were getting at with, it's okay to make mistakes. I mean, you're just going to. That's okay. That's how you learn stuff. And I know I've made my share in my short time in ham radio about, I look back and I go, oh, why did I do that? Or why did I say that? Or that was just not even right. Or something like that. So, but it's too bad you don't have any interest that you can share, Rhea. You just absolutely aren't active at all. Hi. As to Andrea, yeah, she does have that wicked rover. Holy cow! And I know she chats with another one of our gals who I don't see on tonight. I think she still might be on the road. Help me, Catherine. Oh, yeah, General HF. Yeah, I put you down here for HF, too. Yes, thank you, Chrissy. I put you down here for that, too. Chrissy and Andrea we're going head-to-head. Chrissy was getting a lot of information about UHF, VHF modes. Ooh, your birthday tomorrow. Whoop, whoop. Let me pause for reset. Oh, very awesome. So, yay! Happy, let's see, it's belated when you're late. Is it be early when you're, I don't know. I'm silly tonight. So, yeah, K2EZ, did I get that right? Boy, my head. The pressure from the storms that have been going on, and I think there's another hurricane spinning around out there in the ocean somewhere, and the one that went right by us. I mean, granted, it had downgraded a lot, but the eye just skittled just a few miles away from here, from where I'm sitting. The pressure changes in the atmosphere over the last few days I've been suffering from some really nasty sinus headaches. So they'll just come and hit me all of a sudden right between the eyes. So I apologize if I'm a little bit scattered. She makes VHF UHF contesting and rovering easy. Yeah. K2EZ Andrea, you're right, Catherine. I tell you what, that I think if you go to I think she has pictures on her QRZ page. If you go to QRZ.com and put in K2EZ, you will really. She's got an amazing rover operation. She's quite the gal, and to see it in person, I think. Where did we see it? Did we see it up in Dayton, I believe? Or no, was it Orlando? Yeah, that's nice. The 6-meter sprint used your flex. How cool. Yeah, Dayton Xenia. Yeah, really, really neat. And in fact, that's where Catherine and I had our eyeball QSO with Rhea and Andrea. It was very awesome to finally meet them in person. So anyway, I'm going to open this up to the group and ask any of you. Let me pause real quick here. I went ahead and kind of put Rhea on the spot there because we were talking about her when she came in, about her podcast, and, you know, she's so shy and is such an introvert anyway. But are there any of you ladies out there that would like to also hop on to this list and be willing to share your experiences? Remember, you're not teaching anybody anything. You're just sharing your experiences about a realm that you're very familiar with in amateur radio, and like to kind of go on our Elmira list. So throw your call out there, and I'll acknowledge you, and you can tell me what you'd like to be put down on the list for, so to speak. Please call in.
This is K7CJS.
Okay, CJ, stand by. Sorry. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Really great to hear you on and hear you come back to us. So 33 to you, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday. CJ, go ahead, please.
Hi there. Well, I'm too new to tell anybody how to do anything, but I would like to learn a lot more about contesting, and that kind of opened the door to give you all a heads up that this weekend is the big Washington party, so everybody's going to be trying to make contact with us here, so I thought that would be a good way for me to give it a shot and see how I can do. So any of you contesters out there want to talk to anyone in Washington, give it a shot. We'll be here all weekend. K7CJS.
Ah, very good. All right, so now we've got the other side of the list here. People that would like to learn more about, and hi Michelle, by the way, I do have you down in the log. I just noticed you popped up there, and everybody disappears off to the bottom of the list after a while. I don't see them anymore, so I got you in the log. So now we've seen the other side. So why don't we do this? Let's turn this around a little bit. CJ is interested in contesting and would like to learn more about contesting. And of course, may I assume that's the Washington QSO party? Catherine, are you on this? I just know your little fingers are just typing away, unless you're over in Narfle chat. Oh, yeah, okay, she's yep, I got yep. Everybody's yep-yepping me. Okay. So, yeah, the QSO parties are a great way because they tend to be a little more low-key, friendlier, and you'll be surprised because there are people, there are county hunters all over the world that participate in state QSO parties, and also people that are working on their worked all states that are looking for that, or even worked all states YL. The state QSO parties are a great way to do that because there's a bunch of people all from one state. It's pretty good bet that you're going to get that state, and a good bet that you're going to find a YL out there too. So if you're trying to work your worked all states YL, there you go. Catherine has put the QSO party calendar up in the chat. New Jersey this weekend as well. That's pretty cool. Let me go ahead and reset. Okay, I think I have it. I do. I think the QSO parties are really a good way, and I believe that was Catherine's really first introduction to contesting. Is that correct, Catherine? Was the Georgia QSO party, and I tell you I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's the first one that Catherine AC4YL ever played in, was the Georgia QSO party. So it's a great way to get your feet wet into contesting because it's not quite as daunting as a big international, even the North American QSO party. It's one of my favorites. I really like that. And you do get a lot of DX that comes in and participates as well, but it's basically you're trying to get your multipliers with your U.S. and Canadian sections. So it's a lot of fun. It's big, but it's still really friendly. And then you can go into the big international DX contest, and like Rhea was on the Worked All Europe, which is actually sponsored by the German version, if you will, of ARL, the DARC, and they are, which I believe is the Deutsche Amateur Radio Club. If I might have botched that, but I believe that's it. Really great bunch of guys. We always talk to them at the Hamfest. They have a presence at every Hamfest. They're great, great organization, and the guys are really wonderful. But they sponsor a really interesting contest, and I was just playing around on the radio and tuning the dial, and I heard this guy from France. You don't often hear France here in Georgia. I don't know why. Just propagation doesn't work well between these two countries. Let me pause. And I heard him calling just as clear as anything, and he was working a really nifty little pileup, and I busted through the pileup and had a quick QSO with him, and I listened, and then I heard him giving serials, and so I thought, I wonder what's going on. So I checked out the contest calendar, not the ARL, but there's other contest calendars out there, and you can access them through the ARL website. But I went to a contest calendar and I saw it. It actually started, like on Thursday to us. I guess it's Friday to them. But I said, oh, that must be what it is, because they exchanged a serial. It was the only thing going on sideband. So I said, okay, this has got to be it. And went back and went ahead and broke through the pileup and, I gave him the serial number 1. He was the only guy I worked, and it was like in the last maybe 4 hours. So there was a lot of Europeans trying to make those last QSOs, because their multipliers are people outside of their, is it their continent? Yeah, I believe. I think it's their continent. Lots of good stuff going on here on the in the Echolink chat here. Lots of fun. Rhea makes a good point about the North American QSO party. It's 100 watts or less. So everything is what they call barefoot. For those who aren't familiar, if you ever hear anybody say, I'm running barefoot, it means they're not using an amp. They're using whatever power that their radio generates. North American QSO party being 100 watts or less, it really does help to level out the playing field. And it's, like she said, I think that might help it become a little bit friendlier, because you're not fighting the people that are running full legal limit and just blowing it out of the water. So that's kind of funny. Let me pause for a reset. Okay, well, I do see that maybe Sarah got bumped out and bumped back in again. I see a few other girls on here that didn't get the check-in. I already mentioned Carol from Ontario, VA3WHU, Sarah, AB7PS from Washington, Linda, KCAPKY from Indiana, Susie, and HCGM from Ohio, Rhea, of course, and to our J from New Jersey, Michelle, W5MQC, and Kelly, KN4FSG. Good evening to you, and I am so glad that all of you ladies are with us this evening. We have been talking about Elmiring, mentoring, and some contesting and some digital and a little bit of everything here and there. So I'm going to open it up to the group. If you all want to do, thank you, Catherine. If you all want to do, get on a list to be Elmired or mentored, please pop in and let us know. So far, Rhea is there. I know Nisi would be willing to talk digital modes as well. Andrea, of course, roving, VHF, UHF, I know she's really keen on, and probably knows more about that than a lot out there. CJK7CJS is actually on the other side of the coin. She's interested in learning more about contesting, and so she will be participating in the Washington QSO party this weekend. Rhea also informed us that the New Jersey QSO party is going on this weekend as well. Is that what we said? And let me pause and get my stuff together here. Okay, Catherine said Washington, New Hampshire, and Iowa this weekend, and yeah, there's really a lot of good ones out there. Catherine's been posting some stuff here about bandconditions.com. That's fun. dxheat.com is probably my favorite. It's probably my favorite spotting network. It's tough though when you're in contests or special event stations or PODUP activations, because you can't spot yourself on DXHeat, and won't let you do that. So then you have to go sign into one of the other spotting sites, and they all connect to each other, so they'll all pop up. I like the way DXHeat is laid out. It's my favorite out of all of them, and I think it was like the fourth one that I had ever tried, and it's absolutely my favorite out of all of them. Really, really great interface, very easy to use. Tells you where the most recent spots have been made over the last 60 minutes on a nice little band chart. It's just easy to work and select what you need off of it. Easy to get, register really quick so that you can make spots. A lot of fun. Now I use N3FJP logging, and I use their the spotting interface on that one, so I can do all my spots right there. I can see them all, click right on it. I've got it interfaced with my rigs. I got rig control through that, and I just click on a spot and it takes my radio right to it, regardless of band or mode, so it's kind of neat. The contesting, that's where local contests are kind of fun. CJS, you being on the West Coast, I know it's challenging for you because of where Gray Line is out there. You pause. See, yes, I know, I'm doubling with Narful. Okay. Phone Fray. Yeah. Phone Fray every Tuesday. That's really interesting. Is that a, I can't remember, is Phone Fray a sprint? Yeah, I know it's 30 minutes. Is it a sprint? In other words, do you have to move, change frequencies, or can you run a frequency on Phone Fray? I don't remember. I know it's 30 minutes. You can run? Okay. So sometimes, here's a little word for you all, and I didn't understand what this meant until I kind of looked it up. Every now and then you'll see something it's called a sprint, and once you make a QSO, then you have to change frequencies. You have to move around. You can't what they call run a frequency. There's two methods to contesting, and you can stay with one or use both depending on what kind of contest you're doing. But there's running a frequency, which means you find a clear frequency and you sit there and you call CQ. And you work pile-ups, hopefully, if all is going well. And then there's what they call hunt and pounce or search and pounce. And that's when you tune up and down the dial. I really like search and pounce. I have a lot of fun. I find it really challenging to do search and pounce. I got a lot of practice running frequencies when I activated for National Parks on the Air. Pick a frequency, find one, call CQ and go. But I really like search and pounce a lot. I find it a challenge to see if I can dig them out of there and see if I can get them to hear me. But on a sprint, you can't run a frequency. Now, Ria's talking about this. It's called Phone Fray, and it's 30 minutes. It's a mini contest. It's Phone Fray. It's 30 minutes, and what they mean by phone is it's on single sideband, and you play radio hardcore for 30 minutes. That's it. Every Tuesday. Pause or reset. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. They love YLs on it. Okay, so I see Ann, WB1ARU, has joined us. And I know Margaret's probably on down the list where I can't see her. But do we have okay, there's my answer. So for those unfamiliar, this particular net runs from 8 to 9:30 Eastern time every Thursday evening. There's also a YLHF net that is on, like now, 9 o'clock Eastern every Thursday evening, usually on 20 meters, 14,288. Ann informs us there's a group up at 14,300, so that's plenty of room. So 14,288. If you can play HF and you want to check it out and check in and see if you can say hi and see if you can hear and or be heard on 20 meters, please, we encourage you to go over to 20 meters and see if you can say hi to Ann. And Margaret should be on there. Ann is up in Massachusetts, and Margaret, 87MB, is over in Washington State. So usually if they're both on, they can kind of do a relay so everybody can hear everybody, and it's a lot of fun. I made it in once from here in Georgia. And so we're a little past Gray Line here, and I can't really work north from here. It's really, really hard. But sometimes it'll surprise you, because Dawn down in Florida has gotten some of the heard some of the gals booming in, and they'll work each other for a couple minutes and then it's over. So you just never know. So I encourage you to go ahead. You're always welcome to come back. But this net will continue to 9:30. But please, if you'd like to go and play some HF and see if you talk to some YLs. Sarah, AB7PS, 33 to you. Thank you very much for stopping by, Sarah. I hope you have a good one, and we will see you next week, or hear you next week, hopefully. Yeah, CJ, 20 meters dead here right now. It would be for you. Actually, ooh, this brings me to another thing. Ooh. Okay, so I found something new I wanted to share with Annette, okay? And let me see where I bookmarked it. So I'm one of these people that I will get onto a site and I'll start clicking on their links, and then wherever it takes me I start clicking on those links, and so on and so on and so on. And I found a really cool site, and I know some of you are probably like, oh, I already know about that one. But it's www.dxmaps.com. Okay? I'm having so much fun with this site. So, why is it cool? Okay, so when you go to dxmaps.com, there's some tabs up at the top, and if you click on DX Maps, and also go ahead and register, because the buttons will do more for you if you do, and it's free and easy to do. It doesn't cost anything. But anyway, so if you go to DX Maps, you can go to real-time QSO maps. It's the third one down. Real-time QSO maps. And then, or you can just go up and hit one of the tabs that says map there on the top left. Then pick, you can get a choice of the HF bands, LF to HF, or VHF and up. Okay? And then, I'm going to go ahead and reset because I'm going to get excited and lose track of time. Okay, and then you can pick, if you want to pick a certain continent. Me, I just click on World, and then you can pick the band you want to look at. Okay, then you can pick an overlay. I picked the gray line overlay. What's neat about the gray line is it shows the entire width of what's considered the gray line. So you have the daytime, the gray line, and then the nighttime. And then you can select options like I have call signs picked, grid squares thin. You can put in prefixes, you can put in continents, you can put in labels, you can do a small app, you can do the last 15 minutes of cues. Mouse wheel zoom I usually enable. And then you can pick your modes. You can pick phone, CW, digital, or digital and whisper. And you can pick all of them or just one of them with the exclusion of whisper. If you click on whisper, you do get digital. It's just the way it's going to go. And then you can use a call sign to filter or search for it, or you can use IOTA, search locators, grids, whatever. It's really cool. And what I love about it is I can zoom out and I can look and see these different cues and where they are in relation to the gray line and what's going on. For instance, there's somebody up in Washington right now, KB7BRW, who had a cue with HK0RMR, who had a cue in Southern California, and they're having cues out to Hawaii. And CJ, and according to this, you are still well into daylight. So you have not hit gray line yet. And it's really cool. I mean, I can just look on this thing, I can see exactly where gray line is. And I can zoom in, do all kinds of really cool stuff. So, I love to play with things like this. Let me pause. So I encourage anybody to check out dxmaps.com. Click on map, or just go to the tab up there that says DX Maps. Real-time QSO maps, it's a lot of fun. Or look at other stuff that's in there. There's call sign tracking, there's statistics, there's the regular cluster, real-time QSO lists, real-time sporadic E-clouds and MUF. It's just a lot of information. It's free. If you really dig it and you have a few extra dollars, when you register, you can go ahead and donate a little money to keep the site up and pay for the servers and stuff. It's a cool thing to do if you can, because there's really a lot of information, and it really is 100% free. Oh, if you like to do EME, Rhea and RJ mentioned EME. I think it was Rhea that mentioned EME. Okay, so somebody mentioned EME. Moon bounce. Yeah, it was. One of the overlays, instead of gray line, you can put in the moon footprint. So you can see exactly who you can do EME with. A short path and a long path VOACIP propagation, aurora forecast. There's a few layers that you can select, which is really doggone cool too. So it's a lot of fun. Go have some fun. dxmaps.com, my website du jour. My new favorite website for this week. It'll be something new, I'm sure, next week. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, that's cool. Rhea, I figured you would know this one. Yeah, if both of us can see the moon at perigee, you're absolutely correct, Dawn. Absolutely correct. Pause. Okay. WWHEM repeater. Sorry about that. You know, Detroit is my hometown. I'd hate to take down my hometown's repeater. 2 seconds or so after the courtesy tone. Okay, it takes a little bit longer for it to reset. Sorry, I'm so used to just watching the NF4GA repeater here in the Atlanta area that I guess I didn't pause long enough. I try to wait for that courtesy tone. So my apologies to that. So Dawn makes a good point there. And for those that of their space science, the difference between apogee and perigee, and a science teacher told me this, and it's probably the same thing that you all have been told, but for a refresher course. One, of course, the moon is closest to you, and one, the moon is farthest from you. And you just remember that apogee means away. The A means away, so apogee is away. That would leave perigee being the closest to you. So when the moon is at perigee, it's closest to you. And if you are in the footprint, that moon footprint, you can play EME with a very weak signal, like Rhea was talking about the JT modes, what they're originally designed to do, and how the military has also used them as well. So it's really super, super cool. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to turn this over to the group because I just feel like I've been going on for almost forever. A few things for you to come back with. Does anybody want to be a mentor or Elmira? Does anybody need a mentor or Elmira? And, you know, we all know each other. We're all tight here in this group. So come on in and tell us what you need or what you can do.
KC8PKY.
Hi, Linda. Go ahead, please.
Okay, me and this computer haven't been getting along tonight, but finally I think it's cooperating. I do a lot of fox hunting, so if anybody's interested in fox hunting, I'm happy to talk to them about it. Back to the net, as soon as this lets me out.
Okay, awesome. So, fox hunting. For those of you that don't know what that is, that's finding a hidden transmitter. Or an interfering transmitter. There's some different versions of fox hunting out there. And it basically involves a lot of people make their own direction finding antennas. And you can, some people do it mobile, you can do it on foot, you can do it in a vehicle, and there'll be sometimes a transmitter will be creating interference to a repeater, and you need to find it. There's different ways that you can play this game, and it's a lot of fun, and it uses some skill, and like I said, a lot of people make their own gear and their locating equipment, and so it's really rather cool. So that's what fox hunting is in a nutshell, is finding a hidden transmitter or finding where interference is coming from and it can be a lot of fun and a good challenge, and also gets you outside and out and about, so it's kind of neat. So Linda KC at PKY can be your go-to on fox hunting. Anybody else out there, please call now.
To RJ, talking about another type of fox hunt.
Okay, Rhea, go ahead.
So, there is another type of fox hunt that I take part in. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have the QRP fox hunt, where you're not finding a hidden transmitter. Well, you're not finding a physically hidden transmitter. So what happens is one person is dedicated as the fox, and the rest of them are the hounds. So the hounds try to find the fox. Now the fox is basically somebody who is running QRP at an undisclosed frequency between a certain range on 40 or 80 meters. I think sometimes they do 20 and 160 as well. And you have two of them to find, and you find them, you work them, you exchange your name, your power, and your call sign and a signal report, and then we publish it to the Yahoo group. And that, it's a fun activity. If you don't catch them, you get skunked, basically. Well, you quote-unquote are skunked, and you have to break out the tomato juice. It's a lot of fun. I love it. I've been participating in a long time, but I'm going to start back. Back to you, and to RJ.
Nice. I never heard of that one. That's kind of cool. Can you, like geocaching. Yeah, why don't you, and Linda notes that, yeah, you can make antennas and tape measures. That's kind of fun. So there you go. So it's a little different kind of fox hunting as opposed to the actual physical get out there and use location. That's kind of interesting. So Rhea indicates in the chat that she'd like to learn more about that. Dawn says she always wanted to try that. And who do we have here? I see a call that's not familiar. Oh, yeah, there it is, of course. It's not right over here on this piece of paper. I lost my log. I hate when that happens. I have too many pieces of paper lying about on my desk here. In the fray of me trying to find my, what do you call it, preamble. And I'm also trying to get some stuff together here for already planning for doing some forms and stuff like that. And while we have a little time, I'm going to go back out there one more time and see if anybody else wants to talk about a particular topic that they're into or like to Elmira otherwise, or if they would like to be Elmira'd, please call now. Okay, let me guess. Kitty on the keyboard, right? That's so much fun. Alright, so nothing heard. And I'd like you all to kind of keep this in mind there's some way that you can offer, and I'll say this again, unless I sound like a broken record, but it's not about, being a Namaya or a mentor here on Ham Radio is not about teaching. It's about sharing experiences. And it doesn't matter how long you've been a ham. For instance, here's a good example. Catherine AC for a while has been licensed longer than me, probably by close to a year, and had contested and as somebody that I considered to be an Elmira. But when I got my extra before she did, and when she decided that she wanted to study for her extra, I showed her a couple of neat websites that I had used to get my tech and my general and my extra things that I had used, and helped her out. So I shared some of my experiences of trying all these different things and resources and websites and all these, different realms to help in preparation to take the exam, and I was able to share some of those with her that she was not familiar with that proved to be helpful to her. So in that way, I helped her to, I served somewhat as an Elmira. So, you don't have to be, necessarily know everything about anything. It can be just something that you have discovered. So, anyway, can I try Susie? Sure. Go ahead. Call now. Okay, so Susie, we heard you key it up, and you had an open mic there, and we actually heard your fingertips typing on the keyboard. So, go ahead.
Everyone, catch you all next week. WA4YL. Weather the storm.
Out so much as a beginner that I am, and she really helped me out a lot today. So thank you, Rhea, and E0DB.
Okay, had a bit of a double, but I think we worked it out. Rita says thanks, Rhea, and Dawn is taken off. She's weathered the storm down there, and the eye of the Hurricane Fest really close to where she was down there in Florida. Fortunately, we're all very thankful that it had downgraded somewhat, and she got through it unscathed, and everything I think is still in one piece, and I think she got power back I believe yesterday. She said she got power back, so I think that's pretty awesome. that she's good and safe and sound, and glad to hear you're okay and weathering the storm. And I'm certain there's going to be a lot of cleanup and stuff around, and I see Anne is putting a note in 7190. Okay, 40 meters. I don't have 40 meters up. Are you? Ah. Okay, we're all having a lot of fun here in the chat, and I'm just going to get distracted all over the place. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share with the group, or any other questions they'd like to ask, or anyone needs some help, or anyone has help to give? Please call now.
Whiskey 4, Charlie Mike Golf.
Hi, Kathy. Go ahead, please.
Well, thank you, Melanie, and good evening to you and Lynette. It's been a little bit since I've been on, but one of the things that I've been doing was working toward the Music City Solar Eclipse Festival. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because we had a couple of lessons learned. The first is when you're planning an event, and I do it for a living. I'm a project manager. But I'll tell you one thing that we never thought of is exactly where they were going to put us, and they put us right near the bandstand. So we made almost no contacts because we could only make them when the band wasn't playing. One of the things that did come out very, very well for us was the amount of PR that we were able to generate, and the interest in the young kids for amateur radio. And one of the things that I discovered is that by bringing different groups of amateur radio operators in to help at our table, we learned all sorts of really cool tips. So I'd love to share one with you. And that was, if you're trying to generate some interest and get people over to your table, we invested in a straight key, a Morse code straight key with an oscillator with an amplifier, so people could actually hear it even above the bands when they were playing. And we put strategically next to some handouts with Morse code and the phonetic alphabet and a candy dish. So as people started to reach for the candy dish, we would say, now you have to pay for it by giving us one letter of Morse code. And it's amazing the amount of interest it generated. And my tip to everybody is, when you're getting ready to set up a table or do anything to promote amateur radio, just share ideas with other people. It's, that was something that came from somebody else, and it was the most delightful thing because it gave us so much interest. This is W4CMG, back to net.
Fantastic, and what a great idea to do that. And someone shared that with you, and you're just passing it right on along. Thank you for, in turn, sharing that with us. And the enthusiasm. Yeah, somebody can just put something out or lay something on a table or put some candy. But it's interesting when you actually interact and make it fun too. And say, oh no, you gotta pay for it. But it's in a positive and supporting way. So I think that's wonderful, and I'm glad that you let us know about that and shared that with the group. Anybody else out there got a couple minutes or a minute and a half like to share anything with the group before we close the net for the evening? Please call now.
AC4YL.
Oh, go ahead, please, Catherine.
Well, thanks, Melanie, and good evening, everybody. What a great group we've got here. Lots of YLs this evening. So Susie was trying to comment earlier, but according to her notes, her cat killed the mic. So what Susie wanted to let everybody know, in case you're not on the YLRO Facebook group, Connie N8IO is a silent key as of last Saturday, the 9th. So for those of you that knew Connie or have heard of Connie, Susie wanted to make sure you were aware that she is now a silent key. So for those of you that weren't aware. So I wanted to pass along Susie's comment. And also just wanted to say thank you to everybody on this net this evening. Wonderful group. And Kelly, who was on earlier, but I think she may have dropped off. I know she's trying to get connected and was having some issues getting on the proxy. Maybe she's listening on live stream. But if she's listening, that's awesome. Congratulations to Kelly. She just got her technician license this month, I believe. So just wanted to say congratulations to Kelly and welcome her to the group here with us. And Kelly's call was I think KN4FSG, I believe. So Newham, and it's great to have her with the group here. Anyway, as far as mentoring goes, I'm happy to help with Echolink or contesting or basic portable operation setup. Would be happy to help with any of those topics. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. So I'll go ahead and pass this back to you, Mel. AC4YL, AC4YL.
Okay, I'm waiting for the courtesy beep from the NARFL repeater. I'm not hearing it, so I think they've already disconnected. I'm not hearing a courtesy tone from GMark, so that might have been why I knocked their repeater off the air. I'm not hearing a courtesy tone being transmitted on Echolink from the WW8GM repeater. So I apologize for doing that. Wow, worked Michelle on 40. Awesome, Anne. That's very cool. That's very cool. Nice to know 40 is up. Catherine, thank you for passing that on about thank you for passing that on about Connie, and Connie's been involved in amateur for a long time and was a long-time member of just about everything. I believe she was right around 82 years old. But our thoughts, of course, go out to her family at this time. And thank you for sharing that with us. I believe I did see that on one of the Facebook groups. Please go to our Facebook group, the YL UpNet Facebook group. And if you're not a member, just make a request. If you're a licensed young lady amateur radio operator, you will be in. Please join us again next week, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. That is midnight Friday Zulu time until the time change. Please join us right here on the ALARA Conference every Thursday evening. We thank you all. You do make the net. We appreciate the efforts also of Lauren Casey 9ZHV. Thank you for live streaming this. And of course, I just timed myself out. Thank you for live streaming this net. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate the use of the ALARA Conference node as well. Thank you so much for everybody being here. And it's all right. Yeah, exactly. See, if you missed the net, didn't see it all, live stream. Let me pause here so I don't trip up any repeaters. See, I hear them when they disconnect and connect, but I never hear a courtesy tone from that one, so I'll just have to keep that in mind a little bit more. We just need to pause a little bit longer than we have been. And when you have a repeater connected to a repeater or connected to Echolink or anything like that, sometimes it takes a while to move down the line and get all the pauses and get everything reset. So, 33, everybody. Thank you, ladies, for being here on the net. Thanks for participating and coming in, and we really do appreciate it. This is Melanie A. G4YL, and I will now be closing the YL OpNet for this Thursday. We'll see you next week. Good night.